This video will talk briefly about the difference between doing an internet search and doing real research. What we'll do is we'll go from the main page to the Student Help and Videos link in the middle of the page. And then amongst the suite of things, we're going to go to Identifying Scholarly Writing in the middle. This page talks about the fact that there are different types of writing, and so you need to be aware of how valid, accurate the information is that you're obtaining. Now, if you find things on the internet, they could be written by anyone, whereas peer-reviewed material has been already identified as accurate. So we'll just briefly talk about the types of writing. And to know that when you evaluate writing, you're going to use something called the CRAP test, which we have a link to, and it talks about the currency, relevance, who the authority is, the accuracy of the material, and the purpose. But we can come back to that later. Okay. But again, you need to think about the type of information you're gathering and why you would want to go through the library to find reliable information. In addition, the library provides $400,000 worth of quality material you will not find in Google. So you definitely want to start in the library. So there are different types of information. One of them is personal opinions. And as we say, anybody can write anything and put it up on the web in a blog or a Twitter feed or their web page. So when you're looking at information that you don't know who the author is, you need to be especially critical of why they're writing it and if it's a balanced point of view. Okay. Again, World Wide Web information can be from reliable places like societies and associations, but again, you need to be careful you know who it is that's writing the information when it's not, quote, peer-reviewed material. If you're looking for facts and definitions, yes, you can go on Wikipedia, but you can't trust that information to put in a paper. It might be good to find out what the real name of Chance the Rapper is, but you're not going to use it to put something in a paper. If you are looking for official, reliable facts, the library has a page called Facts and Definitions, and on that page, we actually have a tool called Credo that will search through thousands, well, hundreds of dictionaries and encyclopedias. If you're looking for news information, we have news resources, general ones and specific ones that deal with legal and business and ethnic coverages. So you'll want to go to our news resources for that information. And again, remember, news can be slanted as well, so you need to be careful that you're not looking at fake news. And the same criteria are used. When it comes to writing, popular writing are things like Sky and Telescope and Science Magazine, where you don't know necessarily who the author is and what their credentials are. The article is written for a popular audience, and it's valuable information, but it's not what you're going to use in a paper. And you can find that kind of information by using our Academic Search Complete database and restricting to magazines, which is popular. But for the majority of people in an academic environment, you're going to rely on academic writing, which means it's written by an expert. You know where they come from, you know what their fields are. Their conclusions that they're writing about are based upon research and maybe even evidence in experiments. And academic writing has specific things you look for. Again, who is the author? Where do they come from? An introduction that lays out the hypothesis and builds on the previous work, so there are references. An actual methodology that can be reproduced, data that can be studied, conclusions based upon that data, and then references to the prior works. Those are the kind of things that are academic writing. And if you're in our databases, you're going to do a search and then you're going to restrict to scholarly articles, which is peer-reviewed material, and you'll find that information. Sometimes you'll also find something called secondary literature, which means it's a review of a bunch of primary literature. And that's quality material, but it's not the same as presenting the actual facts. Okay? There are multimedia materials, and we have sites that point to our DVDs and streaming videos, and those are worth looking at also. And then there's something called personal writing, which means the diaries of an individual over time. You can't necessarily trust that they're accurate because somebody might have their own perspective, but if you're doing historical research, you would want to look at that kind of information back in the time period when it was happening. So there's many different types of information. You need to evaluate each of them for reliability. Again, you can use our databases to search for them. And then when you find them, you want to cite that information, which means you'll use different style guides APA, MLA, to build references and to build bibliographies. There's even a tool called Zotero you can use, which will help you do that and embed it into papers. Okay? But more important than anything, think about the type of information you want and be critical about what you're using. If you need more information, contact a librarian.